although sometimes the simplest observations can tell us so much about our own underlying psychology. So on that note, today's observation comes from an article I was browsing on opensource.com today, Michigan Tech course to build your own 3D printer. Basically, Michigan Tech started offering a course for engineering students to learn how to build their own open source RepRap 3D printer. For those who don't know, the goal of the RepRap project is to produce a 3D printer that is completely capable of making itself, making all of the components that go into the RepRap printer. So a really exciting project, and it is so far, I think, 50% of the way there. 50% of the parts can be made in the 3D printer itself, and the other 50% of the parts can be scrounged from hardware stores and the like. So this course is teaching these engineering students to make these printers, and then they can use those printers to create other things for their other courses throughout the year. An excellent idea and an excellent example of this revolution that's going on in the peer-to-peer economy, the additive manufacturing economic revolution that's happening right now. Just such a wonderful story. So I will have Dr. Joshua Pierce on the program in the future, or I hope to anyway, to talk more about this course and the idea behind it. But as I was thinking about this and, well, what should I do? I decided to, practice what I preach, of course, and to save this article to my hard drive locally, as I always encourage listeners to do. When you see a good story, save it locally. Make sure you have a copy on your hard drive, in case the internet goes down, in case you need to find it again. For my own sake, just research purposes, it's good for me to save this type of thing. So when I go to save page as, I'm using Firefox, I use file save page as. You can print a PDF, or there are lots of other ways to save a web page. This is what I use because it's easiest for me. But it'll bring up my folders here that I use to keep track of all of my research. So 9/11 and climate change and corporatocracy, false flag, globalism, health, internet, media, science, police state, all of these different categories. World, I have all of the different countries, so if I ever need to find out a story about Russia, I can go back and see what I have on Russia saved already. All of this information is saved into categories. But when I went to save this story, Michigan Tech course to build your own 3D printer, I wonder, what category does this fall in? It's not 9/11, it's not cyber terrorism, it's not intelligence agencies, it's not New World Order. What is this? It's not exactly science. I mean, it's about an engineering class, but it's not exactly science, and it's not exactly internet, but it's about the peer-to-peer economy in some ways, but not really. And miscellaneous? Well, that's not really a satisfying category. It's interesting to me. I mean, I do stress all the time we have to be thinking about solutions and what we can do and how we can contribute to this conversation. And this 2015, I've specifically made the year of concentrating on solutions for the Corbett Report. And there's the solutions episodes of the podcast, and everything is trying to be more and more solutions-oriented. But I don't have a solutions folder in my categories that I use to categorize all of these research articles that I'm saving. Well, that is something that needs to be rectified. So why don't we create that folder right now? And start saving things in there. And again, I think this is one of those tiny little things that we don't even think about and doesn't seem like a big thing. But when you really think about it, it says something about the underlying psychology. Of course, I have all of these things keeping an eye on false flag terrorism and globalism and New World Order and all of these things that we don't want to happen. But nothing for solutions. Well, let's start it right here with this article. Saved. Done. It's on my hard drive. So there you have it, folks. Just a reminder, of course, to save all the interesting research you come across online to your hard drive locally, but also a reminder that sometimes it's even the mental categories that we have for filing things away can tell us so much about the way we're thinking and the way we need to adjust that thinking. I'm adjusting mine right now. Here is a category dedicated to solutions. I'll be able to look in that folder in the future, and hopefully as more and more solutions continue to accrue there, I'll have more ideas for podcast episodes. I'll have more ideas to tell the listeners about. I'll have more ideas for people to interview. It'll all come together that much more seamlessly. And it's just one example of a tiny change in thinking that I hope can have a big change